Hello, and welcome to Saturday Soundbites. I'm your host, Veronica Sofer, and I'm thrilled to have you tuning in today on Saturday Soundbites because we talk about all things that I love, including publicity, public relations, marketing, advertising, networking, branding, all that great stuff to grow your business. We even bring in some phenomenal experts that will help you as you're thinking about your visibility strategy so that you can learn and grow from them as well. And I've got another great guest today. So glad you're tuning in. If you are listening on the podcast, make sure you hit subscribe. We don't want you to miss any episodes of Saturday Soundbites. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, be sure to drop us some comments so that my guests and I can connect with you and circle back. So we'll go ahead and get this episode started. I am bringing on Alicia Croci. Thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to join. I'm super excited.
Oh, good. Well, I'm super excited as well. Alicia, before we start talking about social media and why you need it and how it's going to help you grow your business, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us some background so we get a sense of where you're bringing all this expertise from.
Absolutely. So I'm Alicia. I am the owner of Wildly Creative Studio, a full service creative agency for online entrepreneurs, OSPs, coaches, etc. Looking to gain more visibility online. Coming from that experience, before that, I worked at a advertising agency for 5-ish years here in Kansas City metro area. And then prior to that, I worked for a university as a graphic designer and social media. And I went to school for marketing and photography. So lots of studying, schooling, and life experience to kind of bring in to my knowledge to serve my clients in a way that you don't see in the corporate world and you don't see in the agency world. So we're very human first and data driven centered, and kind of like everything that we do with our clients and all of our expertise hones in on how people kind of want to be treated and how people want to be talked to. So a lot of past experience coming to serve people in a better way.
Yeah, I love it. And having a similar background and knowing what it takes to survive in the agency world, sometimes conflicts when you're wanting to really help people grow their businesses. So I applaud you for taking that on and creating Wildly Creative Studio, because I'm sure that was a leap of faith on your part.
Yes, it was very scary, but also liberating at the same time to be able to make people not feel like a number, which we saw in the agency world.
Right. Well, that's excellent. Well, great. So let's dive right in. Let's talk about social media. Let's talk about all the things that entrepreneurs need to know to grow their business, especially when we're thinking about mompreneurs, solopreneurs, people who are really just diving in for the first time. I'd love for you to just give us some tips and feedback.
Mm-hmm. So anytime someone comes to us and they're wanting to start their online presence, the first thing that we always ask is, where are your audience hanging out in, and who do you want to talk to? So those are going to be the first two questions to make sure, one, that this is our ideal client, because obviously we want to serve our ideal people, and two, we want to walk them through the process of how they're going to start finding their own ideal client, optimize their profiles, make sure that they're not hanging out on a profile that was suggested to them, but is actually not going to do them any good if their audience isn't on it. So that's kind of your basic steps to getting on to social media and what to do first. And then after that is, how the heck do you find your audience, and where, like, how do you reach out to them? So in a lot of our content that we share is, in social media and engagement and lead gen is kind of like a dating strategy. So you're not going to go up to someone in the bar and say like, hey, will you marry me right away, right? So you want to kind of see like, how would you want to be approached? How would you want to talk to somebody, and how can you bond? So after you figure out who your ideal client is, you're going to search for that type of person on social media to help connect with them, and then look for something that you can relate to. So I am very into like dogs and fall, so I'll look for someone that has like a flannel or like a dog, just so I can say like, oh, you're a dog mom too. Or
Right.
like mompreneurs, like if there's a kid that's like their age, you go and say like, oh, I have a son that is this age too, he loves to do XYZ, something very personal and that you would kind of talk to your girlfriends with, etc. And then as we figure out how to find your audience and how to talk to them, now we need to figure out what to say to them.
Right.
So we look into your messaging and how you're coming across as the authority figure, but we don't want to be too pushy at the same time. And we want to really showcase your personality because ultimately people buy from people and
Right.
you are who is going to sell. So we like to hone in on to your unique characteristics. Um, I use again my dogs as an example of finding other corgi lovers that love the like little fluffy butts and then using that as my connection point, but also using my expertise and skills to solve the solution for clients. So
Mhm.
we talk about all of that before we ever kind of get started into the nit and gritty of honing in on your online presence.
Mhm. That's really great advice. And I love the corgi example just because I too am a dog lover. So that resonates with me. So I appreciate you giving us some good illustrations. So Alicia, what are some of the I don't want to say obstacles, but what are some of the challenges maybe that folks are encountering with all of the changes? Because once you've made that connection, right, and you've made that connection, and now you're trying to figure out what to say to people. What happens when the algorithms and the formulas change and all of a sudden there's a lot of movement on social media? How do you adjust if you don't have a team of people supporting your social media?
Um, the biggest like advice that I can say is take a step back and breathe. So whenever you feel overwhelmed of all of the changes that Instagram has made, all of the changes Facebook has made, and LinkedIn, etc., wherever you're hanging out in, first take a step back and just breathe and say like, I got this. A lot of the times, whenever you're chasing the trends and trying to please the algorithm, you lose sight of why you were there in the first place, your message and your values and your strengths in the first place. So if Instagram's saying post 3 reels a day and that's just not like healthy for you, first of all, don't do it. Like, do not follow the trends. Do not follow every guru's advice. Do what is going to feel better for you and what is going to work for you. Obviously, if you are posting 3 times a week, mixing it with single post carousels, and that is bringing you your audience and leads, then why fix what's not broken? So that's kind of like the main start of never feel overpressured to keep up with the trends and to keep up with everybody else, because if your strategy is working, then that's what really matters.
That's very true. And I know for some people, the reels and a lot of that takes more effort, I think, for some people than others. So if it's not natural, I think there are some challenges as you're trying to get out there, get your visibility out there. What are some of the mistakes that you see people making as they're launching their social media campaigns?
I would say one of the biggest mistake is trying to be like someone else.
Mm, that's
I
a good
know
one, Alicia.
I no, I have felt guilty of that myself. Kind of starting out, even though I had so much experience of helping others and how to do work for other brands, doing it for myself and being a business owner and trying to figure out what to do in this world and how to like get new clients. I even was like, I don't know what to do. So let's do like what this person is doing. And then it just didn't feel right. And
Hmm.
so that's where I had to like kind of stop and be like, you know what? I don't want to do the content that they're doing. It doesn't like feel right. It doesn't feel aligned. So the biggest advice I can say is don't try to be someone else, be you and show up as you and authentically as you. It took me a very long time to get comfortable with video, and doing reels and showing up on stories was something that I cringed at doing. I'm naturally an introvert, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
no way, that's super awkward. I'm awkward. And now I do reels because they're fun, and
Yeah.
it kind of gives my
Right.
audience a way to see like the quirky and like fun side of me. Because eventually I was just like, if people are going to be mean and judge, like whatever, I may never meet them in the first place.
Right.
So do what feels good for you, but also keep in mind if some things aren't challenging, then you may not be growing. So growth comes with challenges and hardships. So just as long as you're doing it in a way that isn't draining your mental space, then do it.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And a lot of us fear authenticity on social media. And I know as a visibility strategist and someone with a strong marketing background like yourself, you know that to be true. Authenticity really is a vulnerability for some people, and they don't think it belongs in their business. What are some of the things that you've seen work when it comes to authenticity on social media, right? Because we put more value on that raw realness. So, what are some things that you've seen work really, really well for entrepreneurs as they grow their social media when it comes to vulnerability?
So, kind of what really works is your personal stories or hardships that others can relate to. Now, there's also like a fine line with how comfortable you are. So, like my fiance, he does not like me to post about him or to show up. So, I respect those boundaries. I will talk about him and like talk about our experiences, but I never like show him. Or
Mhm.
I know some of my online service provider friends like they don't want to show their kids, but they'll talk about their kids, etc., just for like privacy, um, whatever, you know.
Sure.
And but be as comfortable or as authentic as you want, showcase whatever you want that others can really relate to, but you don't have to put it all out there if you don't want to.
Mhm.
There is still a sense of being private. However, if it is something like one of my experiences that I recently shared was in college, I got fired from a sales position because I wasn't selling in the way that they wanted to. And I
Mhm.
shared that story, which to me, it was something that was very personal and a failure to me that I never really talked about, but also how many people have ever experienced a story of getting let go from somewhere because they were doing that approach a better way, just
Mhm.
not in the way that somebody wanted. So
Mhm.
sharing kind of like those experiences or whatever else like you can think of, like, has my ideal target audience client, have they ever experienced this? Is this something that someone can really draw into and be like, I want to be friends with her. I want to work with her because she understands what I'm going through or what I have
Mhm.
gone through.
Right. And that goes back to that connection, right? From the very beginning, you said it's really about making connections and making sure people feel like you're relatable or that there's some commonalities that you have. And so I think that's a really good point. And I've told people the same thing. If you feel strongly about something and you don't think it's gonna resonate with a certain group of people, those are probably not the people you want to be working with anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that's a good point. Alicia, what else do you think folks need to be doing if they're wanting to really scale their business? What should they be doing right now on social media that they might not be doing?
Showing their value and showing up as themselves.
Mhm.
So, and another part is we also use a lot of free communities. So if you are a coach or someone that has like trainings, etc., that can build up your free community on Facebook, create a safe place for your audience to hang out in, to be engaged, and to keep you at top of mind. So anywhere
Mhm.
that you can share your value, your expertise, somewhere that you want people to just like hang out and easily feel comfortable to talk to,
Mhm.
do that.
Yeah.
So that could be a Facebook group, a Slack community, a Voxer channel, etc. The most success that we see for our clients are the ones that have that free community where they're approachable to their audience. Not everybody wants to show up in your DMs and talk to you in the DMs, but they feel comfortable in a safer space that was created specifically for them.
Mhm.
That's probably my biggest advice. And also, if you're not going out and finding your people and talking to your people or welcoming your audience, you never know who is kind of lurking in the shadows of, I really want to talk to you, I really want to work with you, but they'll never make the first move. So like we said in the beginning, this is all kind of like a dating game and kind of
Yeah.
figuring out like who you want to date, who you want to work with. So they may not be the ones to make the first move, so sometimes you got to make the first move.
Yeah. No, that's really good advice. Where do you see groups fitting into someone's social media strategy, right? Not everyone has the time to manage groups or maybe has the resources to hire a community manager. So, where do you think groups fit into the hierarchy of how important um, your social media strategy is?
So I would say once you got your main channel, let's say that's going to be Instagram for this instance, because that's my favorite channel, make sure that is working for you first. Make sure you're creating a space for people to come be excited. And then after that, you're getting your content strategy perfected, your hashtag strategy, your story strategy, your reel strategy. Since there's 3 algorithms on Instagram, make sure it's all working to a T first before you move on to anything else.
Okay.
And then after that, if you are someone that does educational more experiences, then let's look into how can you share that type of content with people specifically. If you don't want to manage a group, then Instagram has the great feature of close friends, where that can be another community based
Oh, okay.
type of strategy to post certain things to your close friends list, where it is their own type of like community. It's exclusive content just for them. Kind of after you hit that point and you're getting your clients and you're feeling good, you're feeling booked out, you're ready to take the next level, that's where you either want to look into creating a true free community for your audience, or looking at another channel to expand your reach as well. Usually I suggest for my clients that if they don't have a group and that is what they want to kind of like move towards to, then let's create that, because that is a space where all of your kind of hot target audience are going to hang out anyway. So whenever you're ready to sell your next offer, your program, etc., that's the first place to go, because all of your leads are already there that you sourced. So then you would just move them from your Instagram community to your Facebook community to kind of keep them on one safe space.
Yeah, no, I think that's really great advice, because it can be a little overwhelming trying to manage a group. And different people go through different phases of their business. And so sometimes you have a lot of time and energy and passion for groups, and other times you don't. So it's certainly something that you have to budget for, not only financially, but just your time and your energy.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Never do anything that takes away from your mental and headspace. And if you're not taking care of yourself first, then you can't serve your people. So always keep that in
That's
mind
right.
as you expand and grow.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I'm so glad you said that. That's my love language, is self-care and mindfulness. So you are speaking to the right person about that. Alicia, what last tips do you have for people before we wrap up this episode? What are just a couple of things you just wish people knew right now about their social media that would help them grow their business?
You can't build it in a night, and sometimes you're going to have slow months. So never let that really bring you down. Just remember everything that you've accomplished. And even if you are, I'm going to use the word stagnant, but that's still consistent, in a matter of you're still doing the work and you're still showing up. And that is progress right there. So
That's right.
even when it feels hard, just look back at everything that you accomplished and know if you keep going, you're going to build this empire that is going to give you the life that you want.
Yes. Oh, such great, great words, Alicia. I love that we're ending on that. Before we leave, though, I want to make sure people know how to connect with you. What is your preferred way of connecting with folks? And we'll be sure to put all your contacts in the show notes too.
Absolutely. So my favorite channel is Instagram. So you can find us on Instagram at Wildly Creative Studio. Or if you're not an Instagram person, I also connect with a lot of people on LinkedIn, and that's just Alicia Croci on LinkedIn. Those are the two best ways to contact me.
That's awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, Alicia. I enjoyed the conversation, and I really enjoyed the tips and insight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
You bet. All right, guys, that wraps up this episode of Saturday Soundbites. I hope you found all those wonderful tips from Alicia helpful. Make sure you connect with her. Her contact information will definitely be in the show notes. So we are going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. And I'm going to remind you that if you haven't hit subscribe on your favorite podcast channel, go ahead and do so right now, because we don't want you to miss any episodes of Saturday Soundbites. If you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, drop us some comments, and Alicia and I will definitely go back and answer any questions you might have, or just say hello. We will go ahead and wrap up by sending you lots of positive energy and light.